Hello, dear ones. I want to begin today with a poem from the great American Buddhist poet Jane Hirshfield. This is a poem that I recite inwardly every day as part of my set, as part of my devotional practices. It's called The Door. A note waterfalls steadily through us, just below hearing, or this early light streaming through dusty glass. What enters, enters like that, unstoppable gift. Yet there is also the other, the breath space, held between any call and its answer. In the querying first scuff of footsteps, the wood owls repeating, the two counting heart, a little Sabbath, minnow whose brightness silvers past time, a rest note, unwritten, hinged between worlds that precedes change and allows it. In this continuing series on spiritual practice, I thought it might be helpful to tell you some about the development of my own spiritual life. There's an argument within the world of spiritual teachers about whether it's possible to motivate the change which inspires a depth of commitment with anything more than suffering. Whether people will ever turn to spiritual practice because it brings them joy, or does it require that moment of agony where all the choices seem to disappear and all you can do is take better care of yourself. Now for me, it was such a moment of agony. I want to believe it doesn't have to be, but for me it was. The woman I had been living with for 3 years became involved with another person who happened to be one of my closest friends, and I was furious, just furious. And a dear friend of mine said, "You're no fun to be around. You're furious all the time." And he said, "I've just begun taking classes in a Chinese martial art called Silum. It's one of the Kung Fu forms, and it's really helping me. Would you like to come with me to class?" So I went with him to class, mostly to learn to shadow box with my rage, and I began to practice. Now this particular practice was quite demanding, and when I didn't do it, it hurt, because my muscles would begin to contract after they had stretched out, after I had stretched them out. And for me, the development of consistent practice required that strange dynamic where if I didn't do it, it hurt so much that I did it anyway. I did it because I had to, because it hurt. At first, I experienced practice, that martial arts practice, as providing that opportunity to shadow box with my rage. But it soon became clear to me that when I engaged in my practice on a regular basis, it quelled my anxiety, it made me less reactive, and it helped me to return to center more quickly when I was knocked off center by an event or a turn in my life that was difficult for me. So I became very deeply involved in practice. This was before Jan and I got together and before there were children in my life. I found that the moment or the hour or so after I did my devotional practice was the most powerful time of the day for me. And so I began to practice just before whatever I thought was the most difficult moment, was likely to be the most difficult moment. I was just starting out in ministry. Board meetings were very difficult in this little church that I was serving. And so if there was going to be a board meeting, I would wait until an hour before the board meeting, and I would do my spiritual practice, do my martial arts, and I'd take a shower, and I'd arrive at the board meeting like I was being shot from a gun. Full strength, ready for anything. My dear friend Marsh, who has also been a teacher for me, came down to visit us in Los Angeles when our children were very young, and he saw what I was doing, and he said, "What makes you think you know what the most important moment of your day is going to be? You don't know how your day is going to unfold, and anyway, why are you bringing your best quality of attention to the trustees of your church rather than to your wife and children? Wake up. Wake up early, make the most of the day, start with your devotional practice. And that way, whatever surprises come, you'll be ready for them. And you'll be bringing your best quality of attention to the people and work that matters most, not to the moment you're most afraid of." This changed everything. What began as a way to shadow box with rage and evolved then into a way to quell anxiety and be less reactive has evolved over many years. I've been engaged in regular practice now for well over 40 years, into an ever-growing capacity to notice, particularly to notice beauty. And that capacity, that growing fruit of spiritual practice, has been such a profound blessing in my life that I have to testify to you that incorporating regular devotional practice into your life will help you deal with your rage, will help you to quell anxiety and be a less reactive human being, and will, I promise you, help you to see the feast laid out before our eyes, to see the beauty that surrounds us, and to be strengthened by that seeing. Thank you.